Argentina may have lifted the 2022 World Cup, becoming the first non-European nation to win football's greatest prize in over 20 years, but the country's domestic football scene has long lagged behind those across the Atlantic in terms of wealth and resources, with the vast majority of their best talent leaving for clubs in countries like Spain, Italy and England at a young age in order to reach the top level. Their 26-man squad in Qatar consisted of just one player currently plying his trade at home, 36-year-old backup goalkeeper Franco Armani. But for a country to produce such great players so consistently requires great youth development, and River Plate, the Buenos Aires Giants, who boast a record 37 league titles, also boast one of South America's greatest academies, with 6 of Lionel Scaloni's World Cup winning squad, just over a quarter of them, learning their trade in the shadow of the Estadio Monumental, 4 of whom featured in the final against France. And it's not just the current generation that has benefited from River Plate's production line. The club has a history of producing some of the world's most exciting players, from Alfredo Di Stefano, by most accounts Real Madrid's greatest player of the 20th century, to Hernan Crespo, who broke the transfer record when he was signed by Lazio in 2000, 4 years after leaving Argentinian shores. But what is the secret to the success of River Plate's academy? On today's EFD Explained, we're going to Buenos Aires. Implementing a clear philosophy is often seen as the foundation of any successful football project, whether that be through transfer policy, tactics and playing style, ownership model, or even the nature of a club's connection with its fans. It's why historically small clubs like Brentford and Brighton have managed to upset the Premier League apple cart in recent years, why top German clubs are able to keep ticket prices affordable for their fans, and why Man United have named an academy graduate in their matchday squad for over 4,000 consecutive games in all competitions, stretching back to 1937. It's also the reason why River Plate have managed to consistently produce players who go on to reach the very top of the game. As John Townsend wrote in These Football Times in 2015, the Argentinian Giants possess a strict philosophy when it comes to developing players, as they compete with arch-rivals Boca Juniors to identify the country's top talents at a young age and evolve them into first-team stars. Once players are enrolled in the academy, known officially as La Escuela de Fútbol, the football school, they enter a carefully managed development program designed to create players in the River Plate mould. The club's possession-based rapid attacking style is built upon compact defensive play, with players winning back the ball in packs and springing attacks with quick interplay that stretches opposition defences to open up space for chance creation, and academy members are educated to fit this style. To achieve this, their football education is carefully managed by age group. Between the ages of 7 and 9, players only compete games in 2v2, 3v3, 4v4 and 5v5 formats, and importantly, variations including 4 vs 3 and 5 vs 2 are also used to simulate different in-game situations. It isn't until under 12 level that 9 vs 9 is introduced, with the aim to get young players on the ball as much as possible to aid their technical development and team play before establishing their on-field positions and becoming more dominant as individuals. But of course, for academies to produce great players, they need to recruit them first, and River Plate have an esteemed history of identifying some of Argentina's most talented young players. Focusing their attention first on the streets of Buenos Aires and then on the rest of Argentina, River Plate's recruiters, known as captadores, scout players from the under 7 level upwards, hoping to find the country's next superstars before anyone else. And the list of success stories is long. Aside from the aforementioned Crespo and World Cup winners, River have produced Claudio Carnigia, Ariel Ortega, Pablo Aimar, Javier Mascherano, Radamel Falcao, Gonzalo Higuain, Martin Demichelis and Eric Lamela among others in the last 30 years. It's also testament to the strength of the club's youth development that so many of them break into the first team at such a young age. Lamela was a regular starter at 18, Higuain first appeared in the first team at 17, while Javier Saviola made his debut at just 16 before joining Barcelona for around €36 million at 19. Mascherano, meanwhile, even made his debut for the Argentina national team before playing his first senior game at the Monumental. And it doesn't stop at football. River Plate house a number of sports teams, just as Barcelona do, for example, and notably unearthed Gabriela Sabatini, who would go on to become Argentina's most decorated female tennis player. But back to the football, and a key figure in the club's modern success is a man called Gabriel Rodriguez. Originally employed by River Plate as technical director of the academy back in 1981, Rodriguez developed a reputation as one of the country's top talent spotters, famously discovering a 12-year-old Marcelo Gallardo, who would go on to make over 300 appearances for Los Millonarios across 3 separate spells before becoming the club's most decorated manager in history, winning the Copa Libertadores twice in an 8-year spell which culminated in 2022, famously defeating arch-rivals Boca Juniors in the controversial 2018 final. Like many youth coordinators, Rodriguez values a multi-dimensional approach to developing players, listing growth, education, personal hygiene, dialogue and behaviour as fundamental factors in the ability of footballers to become professionals. He is also, in his own words, a bit obsessive, like Marcelo Bielsa, and his dedication to the craft has seen him rehired by River Plate twice after he left in 1992 and 2009, having remained in his current post at the club since 2014. A number of the players already highlighted in this video were unearthed by Rodriguez, and his latest batch of exports are among his most exciting. Julian Alvarez, who at 11 was wanted by Real Madrid but was prevented from joining due to a change in FIFA regulations over the signing of under-16 players, eventually signed for River after Rodriguez made direct contact with the player's father and convinced him of the education he could receive in Buenos Aires. Within 5 years of being recruited into the club's youth setup at 15 years of age, Alvarez had impressed enough in the first team, hitting 18 goals and 6 assists in 21 games in the 2021 league season, to earn a €24.1 million move to Manchester City, becoming the club's second most expensive sale after Saviola. Enzo Fernandez, meanwhile, joined the River Academy when he was just 5, spending a total of 17 years at the Monumental before joining Benfica in a €14 million move in the summer of 2022. Had the club waited until the World Cup, they may have been in for an even bigger windfall, with Enzo's performances earning him the Young Player of the Tournament award and a €120 million price tag. Then again, the youngster only made his international debut after joining the Portuguese outfit, with his impressive displays in the Champions League nailing him his spot in Lionel Scaloni's squad for Qatar. Since Gabriel Rodriguez returned to River Plate in 2014, the club has brought in around €230 million through player sales according to Transfermarkt, with their €115 million spent on transfers giving them the highest profit margin in Argentina in this period, indicating just how effective their recruitment and development setup remains. Evidently, top performances on the domestic stage are rarely enough for Argentinian players to force their way into the national setup these days, but with a club like River Plate continuing to produce talents such as Alvarez and Enzo, the country's capital remains one of the quintessential talent hotbeds of world football. So that was our take on why River Plate produced so much talent, but what did you make of the video, and would you like to see us make any similar ones on different clubs in the future? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave us a like and subscribe to Eurofootball Daily if you haven't done so already. We put an explained like this out every single week. Thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.